thing I'm going to be talking about, the La Liga. They are still dealing with a lot of power dynamics, labor relations. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Tyrone Ojobi once again, your host on Ladanasis Maple Sports. You know, we like unfiltered opinion and some big love for Canadian hoops and ice. What we try to do is make sure that our analysis are very sharp, make sure that we bring you the best and what's happening, across the world of sports. This is run by Taiwo, your commentator, analyst, and unapologetic fan of the game. This is 2:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and today is a good day. I like to say, have fun, sing your heart out, and make a difference. I've really not had the opportunity of doing this for the world of football. Here in this part of the world in North America, they just start calling it soccer, but it's good that we call it what it is, and that's football. A lot has been happening. I just want to use today for side talks around football. I'm not going into deep analysis of some of the matches that we've had during the week. I'll be doing that later in the evening with my colleagues, my brothers that join me on Premier League and Champions League takes. But we'll be talking a bit about things that are happening around the world of sports, especially football and some Champions League across board. First, I'll be starting with global football trends and market signals. We're looking at the business side of sports and how productive it has been. I can tell you that the transfer market has really accelerated beyond what we can think of. There's been a 70% year-over-year increase in what has been made, especially at the international market and also in North America and Europe. As of today, the league has made about 13.08 billion on international transfers only, which means transfers buying of players moving from different parts of Europe coming to North America as well. A lot of money has been exchanging hands, and they've done about 13.08 billion when doing the analysis for 2025, and that's been a 7% year-on-year improvement. English clubs continue to become the financial engine. A lot of English clubs are spending so much more than every other country within Europe. We did about 3.82 billion in England alone, while Germany and Italy, they did over 1 billion on thresholds as well. A lot of them were able to break through their threshold across transfer markets movements. And this also tells on how productive sports have now become. A lot of people are beginning to see ways of investing in sports because sports has now become something that emotionally applies to people and people are paying so much. And, this also leads me to preparations for the World Cup. Right now, about 37% of flights that have been booked between now and middle of the year are just coming to North America because of the World Cup. A lot of people are booking flights between now and May just to come to North America. It has increased by about 37%. So sports, especially at biggest stage, which is World Cup, is becoming, very, very popular across the world. Liverpool dominated in England, especially with the signings of Florian Wirtz, which was about 160 million euros. And you go Ekitike, which was 79 million, and every other club just comes behind them. And looking at these strategic shifts, we're going to continue to have these values go up by 7%. But this is just an analysis of how it had done in 2015, how clubs are becoming a bit more aggressive, younger players that are coming their way, and they are spending any amount of money they can get to improve their teams. So this is exactly how it's going. About 13.08 billion in 2025 was expended fully on international transfers. Players moving from one club to the other, that's a lot of money. It's not even about building infrastructure. It's just about player movement, salaries and bonuses, and also settlements for clubs, especially for clubs that have demanded cash as well. So that's a very, very good one. Around the transfer market acceleration as it goes year into year. The second part that has become a major hot topic within the sport of football is the anti-piracy and media fragmentation. It's becoming a big problem. I remember I talked about it in one of my podcasts a few months ago, how in Turkey, a lot of players, including club officials, were arrested because of voting that went wrong. And a lot of betting misconduct also happened as well. But right now in England, especially in Spain, Italy and Germany, there's a lot around anti-piracy. Things are happening the wrong way. And La Liga has, found a way to go into what I call an unusual, aggressive anti-piracy initiative. What they're trying to do is try to see how they can offer some bait to people that can give them information for people that are private streamers. Because right now, they're trying to do more consolidation. We have private streamers that are providing a bit of piracy services and access to some live matches, even though they are legal subscribers within Spain. So it's almost like it's not a crime. So what they're trying to do within La Liga is do their investigation, get more information, and try and see how they can consolidate instead of enforcing, because if I've already subscribed to your channel or football TV, I can call a couple of friends together. If I have 100 friends, they can come together and I put it on my widescreen TV and show everybody. At the end of the day, it's really not an anti-piracy anymore because I'm fully subscribed. So if you're La Liga, you're coming to me and you want to be able to consolidate, then we can have a conversation because I paid legally for subscription and you are calling it piracy. So La Liga is beginning to look at ways in which they can consolidate because they are losing a lot of income. First of all, Italy lost about 2.2 billion euros last year on those kind of anti-piracy issues and fragmentation. Germany lost about 1.8 billion. All this billion I'm calling is a lot of money just within the world of sports alone. France lost about 1.5 billion because they are trying to get people that are doing individual streaming of some of the live matches. So a lot of those guys are not willing. A lot of people that are friends or they subscribe to following those people and watching those matches, they really don't want to go and pay for subscription anymore. And La Liga is losing money. The French league, German league, they're all losing money. So it's a big battle for them. They're trying to see how they can consolidate and try not to enforce so that things can be a bit better for everybody at the end of the day. At least they are making good money. They are still making money in billions because people still buy tickets, buy jerseys, buy franchise, and they still go to the stadium to patronize this product. Okay, so that's it. The next aspect I feel I should just touch on is the Champions League competitive landscape. A lot of drama has happened, and later in the evening, I'll be joining a couple of friends to talk a bit about how the English guys have dominated the Champions League. I'm really so proud of the English teams. They are playing at a very high level, and that's why I was happy when they gave them the opportunity to have 5 teams automatically qualifying into the round of 16, and also qualifying based on their league projection to be going directly into the Champions League every year. And so far, they have not disappointed because even a club like Tottenham was, I think, the 4th or 5th best team, in the group stages. And with the way that they are struggling even in the league, they are performing so well in Europe. I'm so excited, that the English teams are really showing how it's going. So I'll be putting it on the screen on Opta's model. There's been some ranking that has been done by the Optas itself, Opta prediction, and Arsenal is going to be about 29.8% favorites to win the Champions League, and this is basically driven by their flawless league phase. They won 8 of 8. That's a very good one. In fact, their last match was when they conceded 2 goals. They still ended up winning 3-2 against a very small side from Kazakhstan. So that's a very, very good performance for them. They were flawless in their domestic form. They're also still, the favorites to win the Premier League. Bayern are 14.9%, Manchester City about 10.5%, and the remaining contenders are just, fighting for few percentages there. Things can change once the knockout stages are done and we begin to see, a bit of a different concept going in. We're probably going to be able to see some things that will be able to challenge Arsenal, but Arsenal has done so well. 8 of 8 at the group stage is very, very impressive. Liverpool, PSG, they have probabilities that are still in single digits. We have a big shock, Real Madrid, about 1.9% title chance. I didn't expect Real Madrid to be in the top 10 because they fell out of the top 8 in the Champions League with only about 65.8% likelihood of reaching the last 16 last time I checked. Newcastle was rated a bit higher than Real Madrid, Inter and Spurs, who have kind of started becoming like a powerhouse when it comes to Champions League. I was really surprised that Newcastle too was able to pull some weight with their draw against PSG, even though they are the only team that fell. The other 5 teams qualified as top 8, but Newcastle was the only one that fell into the knockout phase. But we'll be talking a little bit more about that later today. So looking at the world of sports, global football briefing, I would like to also touch on the fake citizenship scandal that happened in Malaysia. A couple of players in Malaysia had issues um, fielding players that had fake citizenship, and this investigation was some of them even had forged birth certificates, and they represented Malaysia in the World Cup. It's a big deal because FIFA is looking at overturning about three of their matches, assuming that they have lost three of the matches that were leading up. About seven players have been suspended, and the Malaysian football community has been fined about 350,000 Swiss chef in Swiss currency. So that's a big one because it also touches on governance, and that is what FIFA does not like. FIFA likes to really hunt down on governance. Um, they don't allow things like this to go unpunished, especially as it relates to ethics, not doing the right thing, not being fair enough, fairness and justice across board within the world of sport. So the punishment is going to cut across. And it's because everybody's waiting what's FIFA going to do. But they're definitely going to, they are doing some more investigation to see. A couple of players have been affected so far, but a lot is going to still hunt. There's going to hunt more people down. So people have started resigning as well, but it's still going to go up further than what I expected. La Liga is still dealing with, which is the next thing I'm going to be talking about, the La Liga. They are still dealing with a lot of power dynamics, labor relations. It was said earlier this season that some of their matches will be played outside Spain, and a lot of those players are really not excited about it. La Liga president Tebas is still, trying to get players. Is still trying to get a lot of players to accept that move about, taking some of their key matches outside Spain. And looking at the 70% of broadcast revenue that is going to players, there's still some mismatch in trying to agree on how sharing players, beneficiaries, league expansion, a lot of things are still going on. But with the way it's going, La Liga has started, filing legal cases against players that are personally making movements to oppose um, this move. So players are not in agreement, and they're beginning to galvanize other guys. And La Liga is going down on them through legal cases and, trying to make sure that they stop them. And this is causing a kind of rift between some player association members and the La Liga. So the league leadership is looking into it, looking at the players' union, trying to see how they can galvanize everybody, get them to agree, and just come to some kind of midway agreement on how to go about these things. Because a lot of these things also needs to include improving their international presence. And that's why even in the NBA, you notice that some matches are leaving the US. They are coming to play in Berlin. Last year, they came to play in Paris. And next year, I'm also seeing that they'll be going to places like Australia so that they can increase their international presence across these countries and make the product a bit more marketable outside their country, which is very, very good. And I feel players should be able to embrace this and support what La Liga is trying to achieve. As far as they're also able to get some remuneration from the increase in income across the sports. So looking at player movement, which is the next area I wanted to just talk about around the world of football. It's no more news now. Raheem Sterling has left Chelsea at age 31. He just came with some mutual agreement with Chelsea with 18 months left on his contract. He's presently, as at the last time we checked, he was still earning about 325K in euros per week. You understand, based on the deal he signed with Chelsea. But right now we had a gentleman agreement and settlement with Chelsea to walk away with a little less than 20 million euros, and now he's open to other opportunities. He's still looking, to join clubs, within London, and hopefully he's looking at any other small club that comes around because he has not really had any injury issues. It's not a player that will say that his career has been cut short because of injuries. He's still fit. He's probably not playing at a very high level. He's not as effective as he used to be, but he still can still play. He has no injury issues, and I believe that in a matter of time he should be able to get something. And looking at his resume, I just went back to check. I saw that he's still a good guy. Looking at his CV, 5 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, 5 League Cups, and no major injury issues. So he's still a proven veteran. He can still lead a young team. The only thing is he'll probably still have to agree to earn something lower at this time. So things like that, should be settled within England. It shouldn't be a big issue across board. So we're still having a lot of tension around the World Cup. Couple of teams are still dealing with the fact that they are still banned from getting US visa. And that's a major concern looking at security risk at the US World Cup. The US is beefing up security across board, investing a bit more. But right now, the battle is a bit different because I won't mention the name, but a former FIFA president is also kind of instigating that some teams should boycott the World Cup because of some of the conditions involved. Getting fans to stay away from the US, countries that are still trying to negotiate how they can get their players to come in that are on the banned list. And a lot of those things are still going on. So they are beginning to look at how they can negotiate better. Even right now, I was catching up with Route One in England, some news where they were talking about in England, they were prepared to make sure that all their bars, all their watching areas where people can watch matches can be up until 2 a.m. because of the time difference, so that for people that would not be able to travel to the US to watch the World Cup and can stay up and watch these matches even at 2 a.m., especially if it's going to be matches including England with other countries and maybe some other favorite countries in Europe. So they are beginning to talk to most of their public pubs to stay open so that people can come in and watch matches till 2 a.m. because of the time difference. And, a lot of countries are finding ways to look for alternatives in case it becomes difficult for them to get their people to travel and come to the US, Mexico, and Canada to watch the World Cup. So another news around squad depth in the Premier League and transfer market watch is Manchester United has been hit by an injury to Patrick Doku, and it's going to be away for 10 weeks. As a Manchester United fan myself, this hit me so bad because it's just beginning to, catch it well, playing well. Manchester United is just beginning to get a redeem under a new coach, and he'll be away for about 6 to 10 plus weeks. And, this is an hamstring injury. It takes a while before he's able to come back. So we are beginning to look at options, especially this January, trying to see if we can get Keda Meiti from Rennes. He's about 18 years old. And presently he's going through interest coming from Al Hilal, but no decision has been made yet. But I feel that they can go for Keda and pursue maybe like another winger or maybe like a number 9 as well who can support just to help us get that flexibility to when Dogu comes back. But at the end of the day, because Manchester United is trying to go for a rebuild in the summer, and that's why a couple of players will most likely leave. But I think for Dogu, they should still be able to keep him. He's still very promising. He still has what it takes. But just look for a cheap replacement for him and try and find a way to still see how the cheap replacement can keep everything going, because he was playing well during the AFCON. And it's going to become a big problem if they don't look for a backup plan for him early enough. So the next one is Ryan Giggs. A lot of people have been asking that what's really happening. Ryan Giggs have been quietly removed from the inaugural Premier League Hall of Fame induction. Quietly removed. A lot of people didn't notice that. And the reason why is because he's presently going through a major legal case of assault. Some people call it domestic violence, some people call it assault, depending on what it is. It's going through that case in court until proven, you know, innocent. He's still alleged. So nobody has said that he's been proven guilty. So presently now he's still going through a legal assault, and his name has been removed from the Premier League Hall of Fame list. And this just reminds me of what's happening in the world of basketball. About 2 coaches almost ended their career because of either assault or unacceptable, sexual assault or sexual behavior with a member, of the teams. And this also happened to a coach I respect so much, Jimmy Udoka. And that was why, he has been kicked out of Celtics, but he's also doing so well right now in Rockets, Houston Rockets, creating a different narrative for the team. But for me, generally, I just looked at it that um, once you are already up there, and I think I've said it a couple of months ago, once you are up there, especially when it comes to sports, and you are beginning to become more like a role model to a lot of younger people within the world of sports, you need to be a bit careful about the way you conduct yourself, because I know that they're human beings, they can make mistake. It could have probably been a retaliation because I don't really know the details of the assault. But right now, what the whole world is saying now is because of this assault case, his name has been quietly removed from a list of Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is more or less like the highest level of enshrinement when it comes to football or Premier League. In the NBA, if this was removed, if his name was removed because of an assault, it becomes a big embarrassment because he may not get the opportunity to be voted in into the Hall of Fame again. So for me, my feedback is let's just see how it goes. He's still alleged. He's not been, the case is still in court. They're still trying to see. Though he was acquitted in 2023 and they removed charges, but it has not been fully reinstated. A lot of people are still, you know, investigating to be sure. But right now, his name has been removed. So far, if you look at the numbers, because sometimes we try to just look at the issue that is going on, but he won 13 titles with Manchester United. He had about 162 assists and he had 632 appearances. That was a very good performance. He was a captain for the Manchester United team, and he also led the team through a lot of glories that has built what we call Manchester United today. So his family, led by his brother Rodri, publicly, condemning the process of removing him from the Hall of Fame, but there's really no clear direction on whether his name is going to be put back there. But it has been silently removed as at today. Looking at some of the drama that has happened in the Champions League, new things are beginning to change. People are wondering, with the number of teams that were excluded that did not make it into the Champions League knockout phase, which coach will be the first, to be laid off? And Marcel, Olympic Marcel went ahead and had some agreement to let their coach, Roberto De Zerbi. This guy used to be a former coach of Brighton, very good guy. But from my sources, especially my sources around One England are looking at the fact that he was the one that pushed for leaving the club. He was the one that started the conversation with the owners of the club that he wanted to leave. And as a result of that, he has agreed to take a walk. Previously, he has coached at Sassuolo, Shakhtar Donetsk, Brighton, as I mentioned. But right now, his tenure with Marseille is coming to an end, even though he has not really spent up to 5 years with them, which I expected I was going to be there for a very long time. He's just been there for a brief time. But they lost 3-0 to Club Brugge, and they didn't give themselves an opportunity to even qualify for the knockout stages for the round of 16 in the Champions League. So I wish him the best as he moves on, with his, other endeavors. Definitely they will come for him. He's a good coach. It was one of the reasons why Brighton has become a staple and a more stable team right now in the Premier League. So he will definitely get something as he goes on in his journey. He's been paid off a lot of money, so he will be definitely okay. Benfica's goalkeeper has been the highlight of the week. The last day of the Champions League matches had a lot of drama. I think he's on the list is the fifth or sixth goalkeeper to score, at this stage of the Champions League, because we've not really had too many goalkeepers scoring at this stage of the Champions League. I think it's the fifth or sixth goalkeeper to make this happen. The funniest thing is they needed just one goal, not just winning against a Madrid team. They needed just one goal to make it 4-2 for them to be able to qualify as the 24th team on that list. And the keeper went ahead and scored that goal, on the 20, just on the last minute of play, and he was able to score that goal. Shout out to Jose Mourinho, my favorite coach. I so much I so much like the way he was able to put in a lot of drama. He was so happy from the lines, the way he celebrated the goal coming from the keeper, and that was just the highlight of the week. The keeper celebrated much more than every other player. So, looking at an overview of the Champions League, we'll put some of it on the screen. The top 8 teams directly going into the round of 16, understand, have 5 of them. I think 6 of them as English teams. No, 5 of them rather as English teams. We have Arsenal, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Sporting, and Tottenham. So we have about 5 of them as English teams. Then we have one Spanish team, which is Barcelona. We have Sporting, one Portuguese team, and we have Bayern Munich, one German team. So 5 English teams, getting into the top 8. And that's why it's very clear, even for everybody to see, that that's why English teams are not at the same level with any other league in Europe, except, proven otherwise this year's Champions League. Even PSG, they didn't even play so well in the group stages this year. So a lot is happening right now. The top 8 teams have some time to relax. The knockout phase playoff has been set because the draws were done earlier today, Eastern time, when we are in Mountain Standard Time. And 16 clubs must compete in two-legged playoffs. Right now, we are going to be having the first one played on 17th and 18th of February, and 24th and 25th of February as well, just to get to the last 16. So there will be several giants here for the second time in a row. We'll be having Madrid, PSG, Juventus, who what I consider they narrowly just missed the top 8. So they're going to have to fight it out in the knockout phase. And that will be happening, in middle of February. They will get some time to rest before that will start as well. So based on my keynotes that I just put together, after my resilience analysis, I see that England will continue to dominate. With Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and Tottenham all qualifying directly, shows that there's a difference in class. You understand? Spain had a bit of a split. Madrid, started in the top 8, but fell out in the last match because they struggled away in Portugal playing against Benfica, a very decent Benfica team. So Barcelona entered top 8. Madrid was forced out into the playoffs. But, also because they tried to adjust to a new coach. So it's allowed. They still have some time to reflect, try to gel with the new coach's methodology, and try and see how they can come back as a surprise. And surprise performance, which the whole world is talking about, is Bodo Glimt and Karabakh. They are both reaching the playoffs despite teams with smaller budgets. And I really like the way they're able to put it together. This Bodo Glimt defeated Man City, and they played at a very high level. Even though Karabakh lost to Liverpool, but they still put themselves together. Right now, they will still give themselves an opportunity to fight through the playoffs with smaller budget leagues. Exactly. So the heavyweights that are in danger for me, based on my analysis, are Juventus, PSG, Madrid. They face very high risk of getting out, and they have to come in with a lot of energy, and it also gives a lot of fun to Champions League. I really like the way they came up with this. So the draw that was done earlier today, remember this was done based on Eastern time, but this is Mountain Standard Time, so we're a lot of hours ahead of the draws. So we are probably just seeing the draws right now in North America. Monaco will be playing PSG, Galatasaray, Juventus, Benfica, Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Atlanta, Karabakh, Newcastle United. Club Brugge will be playing Atletico. Atletico is also a team that really surprised me. They should have gotten into the top 16, but they've been inconsistent across board. Bodo Glimt to be playing Inter, and Inter doesn't really even look so strong compared to the Inter that played last year. Olympiacos will be facing Leverkusen. So that's it on, football. Later in the evening, I'll be joining a couple of my friends looking at how English teams have performed so far in the Champions League, and also for the week under review. As usual, thank you very much for, staying with us till the end. We like to bring unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and some big love for the Premier League and Canadian hoops and eyes. Thank you for staying till the end. Peace.